Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. This is the first What I'm Reading Right Now video of 2023. Do I regret not coming up with a catchier title for this series? Maybe. It's absolutely fine. I thought this was going to be a purely stats-based video. I thought that was all I was going to have to talk about because I thought I wouldn't have read anything, but would you know it, it's the 4th of January and I finished 5 books and made quite a bit of progress on a few more, so I'm excited to talk to you about all of the things right now. First book I finished of the entire year was actually a library book, getting my library book reading goal off to a great start. I read Sabriel by Garth Nix. This is the first book in the Old Kingdom series. First book published, not necessarily the first book chronologically, but I'm going to be rereading the series in, I think, basically publication order, depending on book library holds and such coming in at the right time. The goal is to do it in publication order. I love this book so much. I think Sabriel is written in such a readable way, which is not something that can be said for all books of all times. It's a really interesting world. It's got necromancy. It's like that kind of beautiful middle grade of the past where it feels like it kind of just is ageless. It's timeless, it's ageless. Oh, I had a great time with it. It was wonderful. I'd forgotten a lot of the stuff that happens, but I was pleased to remember some bits from other Old Kingdom books that I have read. So I think this reread is going to help tighten all of that up for me because, yeah, I read them in a bit of a mismatch last time. After that, I finished another reread, a lot of these are rereads by the way, of Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I know everyone's already read this. I'm doing a cozy fantasy kind of project at the moment and this is exactly what I needed. I read this all in one sitting, had a wonderful time with it. A orc decides to give up adventuring / being a barbarian and start a coffee shop, and it's sapphic and it's lovely and it's low stakes, and I had a wonderful time with it and it made me want pastries and coffee, and yes, so good. So good. Need to put that to one side because I need to film a clip for it in a minute. Then I finished my first review copy of the year, A Venom Dark and Sweet. This is by Judy Eileen. It is the sequel to A Magic Steeped in Poison, and I liked it. I didn't think it was as good as book 1. It had a little bit of that YA fantasy duology slump. However, it did do the thing that I appreciate, which is that it kept the magic from book 1 and did some stuff with it, which some YA duologies, should we say, decide to ignore their cool magic stuff from the previous book as soon as it gets to the sequel. This didn't do that. I had a good time. Wouldn't say it was my favourite, might warrant a reread at some point in the future, but book 1 was still good, so it didn't ruin book 1 for me. There we go. I then finished my reread of Strange Practice. This is the first book in the Greta Helsing series by Vivian Shaw. There we go. I really love this book. I think it's so much fun. I'm really glad that I own a copy again. This is Greta Helsing, who it looks like it's in the past, it's in the modern day. She is a doctor to the undead or paranormal in London, and she gets embroiled in an adventure. There are murderers and cultists run... Can I say cultists? Yes, a sect of murderous monks. That's not a spoiler. This is so much fun. It's got that found family element to it that I love, and I'm really excited to read book 2, which I have actually started, so let me talk about that now. 24 pages of Dreadful Company, which is the sequel. I'm meant to be reading this next week, but I bumped it forward because I didn't have any physical books and I wanted to read something holding it in my hand. So yes, working on that right now. And the last book that I finished but mere moments ago. I realised I was on 97%, and if I didn't finish it before I filmed this video, I would be really annoyed at myself. I finished Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This is the first book of the Regency fairy tale series. This is another reread for me. Loved it, had a great time. Our main character Dora, her mother made a deal with a fairy that the fairy would get her daughter's soul, essentially, would get her daughter, but he doesn't get all of her, and Dora is left. It's the title of the book, Half a Soul. It's a Regency romance, but it has that Fae element to it. I love this series. I kind of really want to read book 2 and 3 again now, but I'm being good because I have too many projects on the go right now. I just needed a cozy fantasy read. It was great. Would recommend if you haven't already picked up that series and you're a romancy, Regency kind of fan. I'm in the middle of 2 heckin' chonkers right now. I am reading by audiobook Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, the second book in the Stormlight Archives. This is, I'm a little bit behind on this for my Brandon Sanderson project. I should have finished half of it last week and I didn't. However, I'm catching up as I do various other things around the house and walking the dog and such, and I think while I might not be able to finish it this week, I think I can lean into next week and finish it then, hopefully. I am very much enjoying it though. I remember book 1 well enough to be able to jump right into book 2, and yeah, so far things have happened that have shocked me, things have happened that have not surprised me in any way, shape or form, and I'm interested to see where it's going. It's been a lot more kind of like, okay, can we just get the characters to where they need to be right now, because the journey between is not entertaining me, but I think we're probably at the point where it's going to start picking up soon. Maybe, hopefully. I am 39% of the way into that, and I'm 40% of the way into my other big book, which is Samantha Shannon's A Day of Fallen Night. This is the latest book in the same world as Priory of the Orange Tree, The Roots of Chaos, but it is a prequel. I've talked about it a little bit in various videos recently. I'm enjoying it so far, 40% of the way in. I actually am finding it much easier to read than I thought I was going to. I thought it was going to feel like a real slog, and I think if I were reading it all in one sitting and I wasn't reading other things around it, it would feel like a slog, but because I'm just committing to doing 10% every day, I'm actually having a good time with it. It's got a lot of characters and a lot of things that really do still feel very much like they're at the beginning, which in another book I'd go, why do we feel like we're at the beginning? I'm 40% in. In an 880 page book, I can kind of understand how we're still in the setup phase of things, right? Still to read the rest of this week. I obviously want to get to halfway through Day of Fallen Night, so there's another 10% left of that. I want to finish Words of Radiance. I don't know if it'll happen, probably not. That sneaky Animorphs book that I still haven't read. I still haven't read it. I have Sunday morning. It's blocked out for reading Animorphs, so that's the plan. So what I'm actually probably going to do is start another review copy that recently came in, which is Mysteries of Thorn Manor. This is a companion novella that goes with Sorcery of Thorns, which I reread a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be another good, reasonably cozy, but a little bit spooky fantasy time, I think. I hope. At least it's a novella. It'll be short if it's not any good. I believe it will be, though. These first few weeks of the year are a lot of rereads for overbooked and or projects that I'm working on currently, and also a couple of review copies. Bear with me while we get through a very, very busy reading start to the year, but it's a lot of quick books, so it should be okay. New releases, I'm not going to touch on this week because most of them come out next week. So next week, Judith will be talking to you about like 4 different books that come out on the 10th of January. Whew, man. But if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to hit you with some statistics. I do stats. I don't actually track a lot of things, but I've had a few thoughts about things that I would like to track over the coming years, and I've got my kind of baseline for end of 2022 ready. I don't think my reading resolutions video is going to be up yet by the time you're watching this, probably. So don't worry about it too much if none of this makes sense. With the context of that, it'll make a little bit more. It's hard at the end of the year when you're trying to schedule videos in and you don't know what you have and haven't talked about yet. In 2022, I read 260 books, which was 98,927 pages. Give or take, Storygraph isn't perfect on page count. I read 76 new releases, or books that were published in 2022, and I had 79 rereads. Does that add up? Yes, and the rest were backlist books. My top author was K.A. Applegate, who wrote the Animorphs series. My top author, if you ignore K.A. Applegate, who wrote the Animorphs series, because not all of them were written by her, is actually Brandon Sanderson, and I think third is A.M. Macklemore. And here are my key things. These are the things that I am tracking so that I can see if they change next year. My series tracker, books that I have left to read in series that I have either started or that I've marked up as I definitely want to read these, are 66 books, which is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be in the hundreds. The number of series that I have where I'm currently in progress is 28. So some of those have more than one book, which is how that makes 66. And completed or up-to-date series, I have 70, which is not too shabby if I do say so myself. I'd love to get that number up by the end of the year. My TBR total at the end of 2022, which is not where it's at now, was 28 books. I'd love to keep that under 30 at the end of the year, I think. My average star rating was 3.95, which is including past ratings that I didn't change and rereads. So various things that may or may not be slightly different or old, or past Judith rated them that way and I didn't want to change it because I wanted to respect her decision. 3.95 feels low to me, but I suppose that's around about a 4, which is where most things got rated. I'd like to have that higher, just I'd like to have had a better reading year. Who knows? The number of review copies that I got and read in 2022 was 68, which makes sense, I think. Yes, 68. Yes, that's fine. And I read 0 books from the library in 2022. I've already got that up by 100%. Wait, no, you can't have 100% of 0. By 1. I got it up. I got it. It's fine. I've already succeeded at a part of my goal. So yeah, those are the things I'm kind of keeping an eye on for the next couple of years, I guess. I'm a kind of person where I need like more than a year's worth of data to really start playing with things. So we're just seeing what my kind of averages are, where things go up and down. It's all very exciting. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? Are you setting goals for the start of the year? How are you feeling the start of the year is going? Please do let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. While you're down there commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord where we have chill chats about books. I want to say an enormous thank you to all of the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They are the best humans, they support the channel, and in return they get early access to videos, bonus content, like my financial review which just went up, and live streams, which I am sorting out. There will be one, probably next week. If you'd like to check out my Patreon and join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. Do I regret I'm talking so fast, I had so much coffee today. So what I'm actually probably going to do is start Mysteries of Thorn Manor? Secrets of Thorn Manor? Why can I never remember?